Morning everyone, back on the road again. As you can probably tell, a little bit jaded, a couple of days away from home. We are on the way now to see a really good mate, Shane Evans. I say really good mate, I've only known Shane for about 12 months. It feels like I've known him even for a lifetime. Couple of pints with him last night, really enjoyable night, lovely stay in the Greyhound Hotel, so quick plug for that if you're around, beautiful place. Lovely pond, that's just what you want to see in the morning after a few beers. So I'm going to put on some hair and makeup. I'll catch up with you in a second. Before I do, grab yourself a cuppa, sit back, and as always, enjoy the show. Well, look, welcome everybody. It's a very special episode of the Canary Room today. This man, well, he needs no introduction, does it? Many of you will have seen this shot. You just won't be used to seeing me in it.
Yeah.
So I've made what's normally a very beautiful shot in Shane's room. Well, slightly more beautiful, I think, Shane, and I'm sure you'd agree.
Plenty of room in it for both of us.
Yeah, there is. There absolutely is. So for those of you who haven't seen this guy yet, make sure you jump on his YouTube channel after you've watched this. Shane Evans from Direct Bird Products, an absolute gentleman. I feel like I've known Shane. I said this in the car before as I was doing my intro. I feel like I've known Shane for my entire life, and in reality, I've known you for what, about 12 months, mate?
It is, yeah. It's not that long. Same thing. There's a lot in common with birdmen anyway. Yeah, once you got that level ground, I think you get a lot in common, yeah.
Fabulous. Well, look, we've got loads to look forward to. Shane is going to give us, I'm going to say this, he won't, because he is one of the most humble people I've ever met. He's going to give us a masterclass on greenies, so there's something to look forward to. He's looking...
I can't tell you what I know, what I've experienced, but
and
masterclass.
Yeah, well, I've made it a masterclass today. We're also going to have a look at some of his mulling pairs, hybrid pairs for next year. We'll have a look at some of his fives. It's like an Aladdin's cave in this room. It really is. And so we'll bring you that over the next 20 minutes, half an hour. So many of you will know and will have encountered Shane through his through the work that he does with Direct Bird Products, and that's how I first got to know Shane. A couple of things. He very kindly sent me a box of things, and I was like, wow, this is phenomenal. This is brilliant, and has been an invaluable ally of mine over the last 12 months or so in sourcing things that, whether that was the egg tweezers that we saw at Keith Ferries, within a couple of days there was a package in the post with love from Shane, and I was like, wow, how did you get these, mate? This is incredible. But I think, what a lot of people probably don't know, Shane, is that, Direct Bird Products it's not what you do full time.
Nope.
It's something that you do, and, there's a lot of talk about fanciers doing things for the hobby, and this man, with the channel that he does, but with also Direct Bird Products, does an awful lot for the hobby. I mean, the number of birds that Shane's helped me out with, the number of products and things that Shane's been able to get for me, whether that's medicines or whether that's seed mixes or plastics or whatever, Shane's just done it. And I think that he is what you see is what you get. He's a really, really, really genuine guy. So Shane, Direct Bird Products, give us the story behind it, mate.
From when I was back at school, I was asked in school interviews, what do you want to do when you grow old? And I always said I'd like a pet shop. And that would have been about when I was 7 years old. So a lot changed through then, and joined a few local CBS clubs, and the one that I'm with now, the secretary for, the lady that was doing that was retiring, and it was going to leave a gap up, and then the older people at the club they was worried where they're going to get the stuff from. So basically I just took over from her. She gave me all it was just seed that she was doing, so she gave me all the contacts for the seed, and I just took it from there. But seed it's easy enough. You buy it, you bag it up and do whatever. But plastics was the way to do it. All the breeding products, because we don't manufacture them here no more. We get them. Well, I get mine from Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, and they seem to have better standard than what we have. So bought that in, and that seemed to do better than what the seed does. But incorporating them both together, everyone gets everything that they want. So, and yeah, since then, probably 3 years ago now, so it's going from strength to strength, but there's a lot of work to do on it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the website's up and running now. We started just with a Facebook group, and it just keeps going from strength to strength. And we need the bird keepers to keep getting involved with it, because we're doing it to keep the price down rather than trying to import it yourself. We pay the import duty and the taxes on it, so people don't have to at that end.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and I think with with the legislations, with everything that's happened going on,
big changes.
Really, really big changes. Check out Shane's website. Check out what he's got on offer, and do you know what? Do what I did, which is basically be a bloody nuisance and message him and say, Shane, can you get me this? And
if I can, I will. Yeah, definitely.
and that there is unprompted is the measure of the man. If
Yeah.
I can, I will.
No, I do get quite a lot of messages, because I always tell people, if you can't see it, send me a message, and 9 times out of 10 I will know straight away if I can get it from the contacts I've got or the companies I use. So yeah, I've not failed yet.
No, you most definitely haven't. I'd be like that. So I'd literally, I don't think I could do it, mate. Because I notice as I look around the room, there's an awful lot of direct bird product stuff in the room, which is what you would expect.
I use, and this is one thing that I've said from the beginning, I only use or sell things that I use that I've got confidence in.
Yeah.
Whether it be the drinkers, perchers. If I'm using them, I know what to expect from them when I'm selling them on.
Yeah.
Or if someone asks me for a review on them, I say, yeah, they're crap, or they're really good.
Yeah. Let's go the other end of the room.
Which way do you want to start it?
Well,
with the greenfinches I know a lot about, or fives that I don't know much about?
Well, we'll do the greenies and then
Yeah.
we'll finish with the fives. I'll help you with the fives.
Yeah, I think that's an idea.
Let's take a look at them now.
Yes.
Right, so we build it as a masterclass, and that's me billing it. That's not Shane. It's me who's it's me who's full of the bluster, and Shane's the modest guy. So, Shane, the greenies as a bird, they are one of. We know that they're scruffy, so they're messy bloody things, aren't they? But as a bird, where did it begin for you with greenies?
It was my dad, obviously, keeping birds, and he had Lutinos, all the mutations, really. And over the years, they just developed, and the shape of them is what I've come to like now. But I think it's down towards on the show bench, because greenies basically dominate the show bench regardless of where you go. It's an easy option for the judges to pick, rather than such as a chaffinch that they don't really know that much about. It's an easy option for them to pick, and if you get a good greenfinch, I mean, I'm not saying mine are outstanding, but there is some nice birds. We've got the style, the colour, and you can't look back, I think.
No.
I think they're easy to look after, easy to feed, and they live longer than a goldfinch, so...
Everything lives longer than a goldfinch, let's be honest. So, with the birds then, we had a chat last night, and you were talking about the kind of, the style of the greenies, the different style, but also, and it's something I think for the newcomer or the experienced fancier, there can often be a fixation on having show quality birds, and many of us will know when you're running a stock, what you need stock birds and show birds.
Yeah.
And actually, a stock bird with good dominant features, you want it to still represent the model.
Yeah, you need the different, like you said, the colour, size, and the colour of the greenfinch over the last 15 years has really gone out the window. And one thing that me and Mark are quite well known for is the colour in the greenfinches. And I will show you some of the birds that will never leave this bird room, even though they're 3 or 4 years old now, but they are the pinnacle of what we started with.
Yeah.
Whether it be the old cockbird or the proper yellow hen bird. And the colour has faded on them, and we're trying to bring that colour back to them. Rather than being, you can get a big smoky greeny cock, looks perfect with style, but it's got a lot of smoky grey on it, which is no good for the show bench. But it's hard to try and get that out if you haven't got the right birds for it, the stock birds.
So you've got that kind of, feathers, feather type,
Yeah.
yellow buff, intermediate.
Very intermediate.
Yeah,
99% of the birds in the greenfinch should have a buff or intermediate nowadays, not yellows that you should have.
Yeah. And so from that sort of pairing selection, so you can see the colour of the greenies here, and you can see that there's there's some really nice coloured birds there.
Variations of different
And
types.
there is a variation as well, and I think that kind of that honesty is important. We'll catch some of these on film in a minute. So, Shane, if I was starting today with greenies, now I'm not, so
I think you might be tempted. After this goes out, I think you might be tempted.
I'm always tempted, mate. Let's be honest. I walk into rooms and I'd be like, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
But I keep telling myself there's no more room in the canary room. So that's all I need to say on that matter. There's no more room in the canary room. There's no more room in the canary room. So on the greenies, mate, talk us through. We'll have a look at a couple of birds, but talk us through. If I was going to start today, what am I looking for? What does a good greenie look like?
Same again. So many different variations, but I wouldn't go for the biggest birds. If I was new to it and going to start out, don't go for a big bird straight away, a show type, because they don't fill the eggs as easy as what one half its size would. Go for something half the size. Look for the best colour you can get in a greenfinch, and a greenfinch should be green.
Yeah.
Not...
the clue's kind of in the name, isn't it? Not a greyfinch.
Yeah, well, it is, greyfinch. No, definitely not, but not olive, like people think. Green as grass green.
Right.
That's what you want, and one of our stock birds is that one there is the quality you're looking for. But yeah, I think if you start off with something half decent in size, best colour, you're not really going to far wrong from that. And don't double buff, because you can get your birds bigger, regardless of that anyway. But line breeding, I think, is the way to get the bird stock up.
Yeah. And from that sort of, the don't double buff, do you run greenies as pairs?
Personally, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Would greenies strike? Could you put a greenie cock in with a couple of greenie hens?
Mark Ponton, I was in partnership with. He used to use one cock bird over 4 hens.
Right.
And have success with him that way. I was totally the opposite. Pairs on pairs.
Yeah.
And I'm still, regardless of what bird it is, whether it be fives, I still use pair on pair. I think if you've got a good greenie cock that will feed the young uns, with 2 parents feeding that, they're going to pile it into them.
Yeah.
And I think key is, especially with greenfinches, at a young age, first 5 days in the nest, is where they develop more on. So if you've got an hen that's not as attendant on the nest as what a cockbird would be, you're not going to get as much grub into them.
Yeah.
They're not going to be as big, and they're not going to get that start off in life that they need to produce better birds.
Yeah. And I'm interested because every time I come into a bird room, and we've seen Shane's room. I came in here and it's like, I've been here before. I haven't. I've seen Shane's.
There's a lot of areas you don't see.
Yeah. There is a lot of areas you don't see. But the sort of setup here with the flights on this side, the cages here behind the camera at the back of the room behind us here. You're singling these off here. I take it these are...
Majority of these are current year bred birds, part of the show team. And I've got an adult cockbird, which is older, because he's the one that I look for to compare it to.
Right, okay, so you've got like a visual representation in here of that's... Yeah.
Because we've had no shows, I look at my birds and think, wow, outstanding. But when you've got nothing to compare it to, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, and 18 months is a long time without a show to look at your birds. You could have gone backwards really quick. Having one that I know is a standard I'm looking for, I could always look at it and think, that's what I'm looking for, but actually, the young ones are better than the adult now, so you're going the right way.
Do you know, I think you'll pick up loads of stuff from Shane today. That as a tip of something to look forward for, I think is really important. Having the living model in your room, and you're right, all of us have kind of gone 18 months without a show season. We've got back on the bench now.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Yeah. Some fanciers have gone forward, some fanciers have maybe taken a step back. Because you're right, in your room you sit there and you think, I've got a shed full of world beaters, and then you put them on the show bench and you're like, where have they gone? But
I have been there and done that, and it's disheartening when you think, like you said, you've got a shed of world beaters, and then you go to a show and they're like dead last.
Yeah.
And where did I go so wrong with that?
So when it comes to pairing the greenies, we'll if we can, we'll get a couple out in a minute and just have a look at them. And if you talk us through,
Yeah, I'll show you two different types because there is so many different variations with whether it be a cock bird or an hen bird, and what I would like to look for in pairings.
Yeah.
Size, colour, quality, all that type of stuff.
All right, let's have a little look at that right now. So Shane, as we look at some of the birds here, we've got a father and a son.
That's correct. Yep.
Of the greenies, and that's sort of part of what you're going to look for moving forward.
Yeah.
So developing that kind of family line. And what is it about these? To the untrained eye, mine.
It's the size of them, keeping the actual shape of it, the cobbiness. A lot of people think cobbiness is short and stumpy, but actually you can achieve it with a bigger bird, obviously by line breeding, and still got that same style what you would have in a smaller bird, but as a bigger object of it. And to be fair, I mean, Mark Ponting is the one who basically started it off before I became partners with him. We've helped through, obviously, Paul Meek introducing fresh bloodline over the years. It has come, and the style of us come really to what they're actually at now. But it's like I said, there is certain ones in here that don't look as good as the others. But the bigger picture is the plan for 5 years, not just now. So
yeah, and I think for any breeder of birds, that's the key, isn't it?
It's
not
thinking forward.
Yeah, it's not just about and I think the balance for all of us is that kind of patience game. One thing of right, okay, I need to do this, but I'm doing this in the long term. This is where I'm going. This is the direction.
Yeah.
And you touched on a yellow hen we'll have a look at her here. Touched on a yellow hen, which you said is not got the necessarily size on it, but from a colour perspective.
Yeah, she's the colour. Very short bird, short feathered bird as well. So there's not much on her. If you look at her, anyone who knows a buff and a yellow bird, a buff has got a lot of feather, but she's short and she's so dark. If you've got her in a flight, you'll mistake her for a cock bird. She's that rich in colour, but she's the plan to a lot of the greenies, big buff birds. A short, nice feathered yellow bird would produce better coloured birds. Not necessarily you're going to get yellows and buffs because obviously there's so much interbreeding with the intermediate feather.
Yeah.
But you'll get a better opinion of a yellow.
Yeah.
It might not be 100%, but it might be 95% yellow.
Yeah.
On the road back to full yellows and buff birds, and that's a plan.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to get the size up. I think we need to actually start getting back to the original way we used to breed yellows to buffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I think we talk Keith Ferry of the Norwich, and that thing, that obsession with size, and then you've lost colour, and you've lost a bit of type and feather quality and all of those things. And I think that's really important. The birds are singled off. They're ready now in their kind of your show conditioning them, aren't they? And you're feeding them an interesting concoction. Are we allowed to talk about that on film?
You are, because I actually said it before. I've got no tricks up my sleeve.
I was going to say I might not have watched that
episode.
episode.
Give everything out, and it's a TK mix, a pigeon mix. What I do is mix it with a greenfinch mix because a TK mix has got trapping oil in it, what they use for pigeons when they're racing to calm them down. I soak that and I give it them on a week running up to a show, and it gets into the system and slows them down, and it makes them not as scary if you're lifting them off the show bench when the steward's getting them, transporting them around. Just give them that bit of
steadiness. Yeah, steadiness.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Well, look, we've spoken about the greenies. There is a fantastic collection of greenies in here. What fascinates me, Shane, and it always has done, is the natives in the room. We've got a number of different varieties, and I've already spotted the fact that you've got plans for next year for a number of different hybrids.
Yes.
And the odd mules. So let's I tell you what, let's go and have a look now at some of Shane's plans for next year.
Only some of them.
Only some of them. So Shane, we've talked greenies.
Yes.
Hybrids. So I mean,
challenging.
yeah,
That's
challenging.
the first thing I'm ever going to say about hybrids.
Yeah, and I think that for us as bird keepers is that strive to achieve things, and there's an array of different British birds here in the room. The bramblecock, who's just stunning, isn't he? Absolutely
He is,
stunning.
and hopefully it doesn't drive the end too much this time, because as you know, our regular viewers of my channel would know that they did have chicks, but the end went egg bound and it just went pear-shaped. But plans from further on.
Yeah. So he's going as a straight pair.
Definitely. Oh, the brambles, if there were more people that were breeding them, it'd be easier to source brambles, but there's not many people keep them, so it's quite a downfall, because they're an absolute stunning bird to look at.
Oh, I mean, it's the first time I think I've ever seen one
Really?
This close up, yeah, and it's absolutely. I mean, there's no room in the canary room, people. There's no room in the canary. I'll keep telling myself that, and I'm walking around Shane's room and going, I like that, and he goes, take it, and I'm like, I can't, because
If you've got use for something, use it. That's my opinion.
he's a legend, this man. So up here we've got Greenie Chaffee.
Yes, this is the new pairing. This is the second pairing. She went to nest, but never actually laid, and that's the actual cage that she actually went in. Chaffinches, really easy to breed in my opinion, and I've had better success in cages than flights all day long, whether it be a straight chaffinch pair or an hybrid pair.
Yeah.
Greenie Chaffee is one that's always eluded me. This year, full eggs, dead in shell, obviously from a different pairing, but we'll get there, and I'm not stopping till I have done it.
And that's the kind of determination we need. And then we've got a Greenie Bully as well.
Greenie Bully, yeah. She were an older a bully hen when I got her, and the Greenie does feed. I actually took shots of her feeding on the nest before, so they have bonded really well. So maybe next year. She's had eggs, but just eating full of them. I think it's just down to him thinking he's not your greenfinch, is it? So.
So it's very much the long game.
Yeah, definitely. Anything with hybrids, or even mules for that instance, because hybrids are very challenging, and I think if you give up after the first year, then you've lost already. Sometimes it can take 5 or 6 years, or you can have a look and do it straight away.
Yeah.
Some do.
Yeah. And so, talking of mules, there's a Norwich crossbill.
Norwich crossbill. She never went to nest this year. It's a young crossbill hybrid, so just need to develop. Crossbills themselves, anyway, are for hybridising, do take longer to mature than what a goldfinch or a linnet would.
Yeah.
So long game again.
And linnets. There's a linnet. Is it a linnet Norwich mule there, or is
No,
it
Twite mule.
Twite mule.
Twite
sorry.
mule, yeah.
Twite mule.
Twite mule. Unfortunately, I haven't got no twites to do a twite mule, and I've got a couple of twite mules. Both show quality type, but yeah, I'm a sucker for a linnet mule, and twite mule had to do. So if we could get some more twites, there would definitely be 3 or 4 different pairings of twites or linnet mules.
So listen, this guy does an awful lot for the fancy. If anyone's out there and they've got some decent quality twites,
I do know people have. I know people have, but because there's not that many around, we can't keep the gene pool going on without keeping them yourself. That's a problem. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So
this is a plea on my behalf. Let's get him a twite cock for muling. Come on.
I was so close to getting one once at Stafford. I was umming and ahhing, and it's sod's law. You turn your back and it's gone.
Yeah.
The guy was there, and he bought it right in front of me. I was like,
Yeah, we'll get you one, Shane. We'll get you one. And then just tucked in the corner, we've got a hybrid. It's a northern nose, so
It is. It's one I bought, and because lovely bird, but it's just I just had to have him really. It's a goldfinch, bullfinch, northern. Never shown it or anything. Never intending on showing it. It just looks nice.
Yeah.
And everyone that actually comes, even my father-in-law, he's got birds now. He had birds years ago, and he come in, and it's the first thing he spotted. So it's an eye-opener for people that want to try something like that.
Yeah, no, it is a stunningly beautiful bird. It's a stunningly beautiful bird. So very much with mules and hybrids, it's about the long game, mate.
It is. Mules, like I said, a lot easier. Linnet mule, goldie mule, you could probably breed them all year and have no problem with it. But for a show quality, it's hybrids that you really need to be doing.
Yeah.
And they're always going to do better on a show bench than a mule would anyway. Years ago, we used to see 15, 20 golden mules on a show bench. You'd probably lucky to see one now, because your crossbill hybrids and your bully hybrids have took over that. So, but I don't think you can go wrong with a lovely golden mule, a proper, not a variegated one, not even a light one, a dark golden mule. I don't think you could ever beat it personally. But that's because I grew up around that, and that's what my dad used to breed, and that's what I like.
Yeah. Good stuff. Everyone keep tuned to Shane's channel, because there'll be ups and downs and rounds and everything else.
Guarantee you the hybrids, there'll be more to be added to the list, but the ones I've got are not going to be separated.
Yeah.
I think that's key. And if you are thinking about doing any mules or hybrids, especially hybrids, pair them together now, select them now, get them together and bond them over winter. That's the key.
Yeah. No, sage advice from the man here. We'll, well, do you know what? I'm going to invite myself back. This time next year, we'll come and have a look and see how we get on.
Yes.
So, of course, there's lots of different native finches here. The greenies we've talked about. We've looked at your plans for next year around the mules and hybrids. There's also a growing stud of Fife Canaries here. We'll have a little bit of a chat about them coming up now. So, Shane, not content with all the stunning British birds that you've got on, and we've not even talked about the Norwich. And there's, a growing,
bird.
Yeah.
I started off with like 2 pairs that I was given from my friend, and then it seemed to grow. Everything seems to grow. So.
Yeah, well, they're very happy and content birds, aren't they? And they look...
Lazy birds, very lazy.
Yeah, but beautiful stuff. But the Fifes, it's fair to say, were the story behind the Fifes, I think, is it tells you everything you need to know about Shane as a man. So, Shane, do you want to tell us how you got the birds?
Yeah, so, obviously being in partnership with Mark Ponting, his best friend was Malcolm Lidbury. And Malcolm suddenly passed away and left the birds, left them to us in the partnership. Mark bred some, I bred some, and as soon as they started molting out, I just looked at them, and there was just something about them that caught my eye, and I just wanted to concentrate on them and do better. Obviously, Mark had spent a lot of time with these birds, bringing them on, and well, it's basically try and show them and do him proud, really. And we'll get there. I mean, I do regularly send pictures to Mark, and he's really over the moon that I've actually carried on with him rather than just pass them on, because Mark did put a lot of time and money into the birds originally. So it's just down to trying to do one better.
Yeah,
and get them on the show bench, and
I think that's that's sort of that important stuff. I think you feel that kind of, and I use the words carefully here, you feel that burden of responsibility, as I do in the bird keeping world.
At first I did. One thing I didn't want to do, I got the 5 pairs from Mark, and last thing I wanted to do was let them die. But as soon as they went to nest and they fed their own, and like I said, I paired them literally cock to hen as a true pairing. When they came out of the nest, there was fantastic shape, and there was just something about them that I had to carry on and make them better for him.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if Mark was here now, and if he's seen the birds, he'd be over the moon with the style that they've carried on with.
Yeah.
But it's his hard work that he'd put into him in the beginning that I've just carried on for it.
Yeah. No, and I think that's really important. It says a lot about you as a person, but also a lot about us as bird keepers and the obligations that we feel, that kind of importance to keep things going, to keep lines of birds going, to keep, making sure that people, irregardless of whether they're here with us and still with us or not, but they're not forgotten, and their legacy is carried on. I think that's important.
I mean, the people that knew Mark as well, I only met him personally a couple of times, and he had, a lot of time for people and having a chat with him at the shows and stuff. And he did, as a champion, he did really well. So he's the type of guy that would help anybody. So my return to him.
Yeah, no, lovely stuff, mate. Lovely stuff. So listen, we're gonna wrap up there. It's been, mate, it's been great to see you.
Yes, and you.
It's been, wonderful company. Shane and his lovely Mrs. Haley and the family, the kids, they've looked after me.
You have to, don't you?
Yeah,
celebrity. Look at the celebrity. You have to treat him right.
Don't know about that. I did think he might wear a check shirt today, but he hasn't. So.
No, actually, I did get one out last night. My daughter said no.
Yeah.
You did.
But listen, if you've enjoyed the show, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe. Also, get on this man's channel as well. Search
The Bird Room.
The Bird Room.
The Bird Room.
On YouTube. Search for The Bird Room. Subscribe. Keep an eye on what's going on with Shane. Get on his website as well. Direct Bird Products. Get on there. Find things that you want. Keep this man going. Shane, look, it's been a pleasure, mate. Always good to see you.
Yes.
And
you're definitely coming back again.
And I'm definitely coming back. Definitely coming back. And we're going to stay in the Greyhound again. Because what a fabulous night that was. But that's for another video. Until next time, everyone, take care.